guys, Anna here. So today we are in Newcrest and we are building our final community lot for the week. And to round out the week, we are making a library. Now, this is definitely the one build where I struggled because I wanted to I was looking at reference pictures. I was trying to find out kind of what style I wanted. And in the end, I kind of combined a little bit of the kind of library that we have in Willow Creek with some of the more kind of, I want to say, traditional kind of American style libraries that I saw off Google. What I mean by that is, very tall ceilings, lots of like kind of colonial traditional style buildings, lots of balconies, lots of columns. And that's kind of what I went with because I felt that that was probably a safe bet. Like, I didn't feel that I felt that it was obtainable because I'm going to be honest with you. When we had the poll on Twitter, and I think the option was a library or a high school, I kind of wish it was a high school that had won the poll because the library was just like a left field. This was just something I randomly came up with. It was actually like not the option I was wishing people would choose. You know how that always happens? Like you ask someone like what they think, but you kind of already have an answer that you wish they'd choose. That was this situation. But I took on the challenge and you know what? I actually think this is really good. I'm really happy with this library. I think it's beautifully decorated. I really do. It's very expensive. I'm going to be very honest with you. It's very expensive, but I think it's a beautiful library. It's a very big library. I probably didn't need to make it as big as I did, but I really think that this library has it all. Yes, it obviously has reading places, but I definitely feel that this library really appeals to every generation. Every life stage. We have a toddler's and a child's playroom. We have lots of skill building areas, which has pretty much most skills in it. So we've got everything from debate to chess to piano to music to painting, most things like that. We have, I believe, 2 computer labs in this library, a couple of communal areas. Downstairs we have a seating. We have kind of like a desk seating where people, students may be able to do homework and what have you. And then we have like reading areas and we've got, and we also have, now I know that like the library wouldn't have workers, but I also have like a kitchenette because I thought it would be really good to have just a little place and it'd be realistic, to have like a common room. So you'll also see that here. So let's get into the build. It is definitely underway as I'm just kind of introducing you to today's build. And this is the main shelf. And as you can see, it's got kind of that traditional American vibe with the columns and the tall ceilings and kind of that curved areas at the front. So I used a combination of university, high school years, a couple of packs actually. But yeah, I think high school years Discover University, is very predominant in this library. Now, in terms of the wallpaper, I did want to use stone for the actual fireplace section, the chimney. And then this is a Discover University wallpaper. I've not used this wallpaper before, but I really thought that this was an appropriate build to use that wallpaper. And that's what I've really enjoyed this week with building these community lots is being able to use objects and assets from packs that I've not used before because they are more tailored towards like community lot. For example, when we did the spa, like there's a lot of objects in Spa Day that they're probably going to best be used if you were making a spa. So it's really nice to be able to use those objects. Also, around the time that I was building this, I decided to cave and I purchased the Vampires game pack because I really, really want to build some Victorian builds and some castles. So maybe in time for Halloween, I will definitely get onto that. But the flooring for the Vampires pack, that diagonal wooden floor, I'm obsessed with that. The flooring in that pack is like top tier. So I'm really glad that I stopped sleeping on that pack and I picked it up. And you'll see that in a minute when I place that flooring. It makes this whole building. I'm obsessed with it. So we are just working on the floor plan. So as you can see, you kind of enter the build and you kind of walk into a communal space. You'll have that little kitchenette off the side. and then you go through this diagonal wall, and that's your main library. That's where you've got your bookcases and your seating or desks and what have you. And then back in that front section, you'll have your desks and then the toilets in the back. And then upstairs, you have another second communal area, toilets, the kids' playrooms upstairs. And then we have this top section here that I'm just doing now. That's the skill room, where it's literally like everything you can think of jammed into one room. Because for a library, I really didn't know what to include. Because I'm going to be honest with you, I can't really remember the last time I sent my own Sims to the library. And I think that's because I used to be a Sim player that used to just press motherload and my Sims would have whatever they needed. So I never felt the need to go to a library because everything would be in their houses. Nowadays, I'm very much more like the rags to riches type player, where I actually really enjoy the struggle of not having money, because I swear to God, a rich Sim is boring. They're boring when they have too much money. Alrighty, so we did just see that flooring inside, and the wallpaper is from high school years. I really liked the combination of that wooden floor with that kind of stone kind of Art Deco style wallpaper. And now we're working on the windows. So I believe all of these windows are from Discover University, and a lot of kind of the assets used in this build are from just like structurally are from Discover University, just because I feel that the library and kind of like the vibe of Brightchester are very similar. That kind of traditional library would very much fit in Brightchester. So I could have essentially built this there, but I decided to do it in Newcrest because I wanted to do a base game world because, well, number one, I love the lighting in Newcrest. So I wanted to give myself a little bit of help because I was worried about this build. So I wanted it to build it in a neighborhood that I was a little bit more familiar with, and I think it was the lot shape. I didn't know whether I needed a more rectangular lot or whether I needed something that was a little bit more long. But yeah, so we are now just doing some quarter tiles. So how we do that is we press the tile and we press Control F, and that will give you quarter tiles. Place it down and then press Control F when you are done to convert it back to a full tile. So that's how I've done that today. We are just putting some paving, and I do the trick here where I purposely leave blank spaces, and those blank spaces are where we're going to put our landscaping. The landscaping is very simple. I think I use just a combination of hydrangeas and some hedges and just some trees, just nothing fancy. But I wanted to keep it very simple because it's like when with that large colonial build that I built a couple of weeks ago. If you have not seen that one, it's a beautiful build. Go check that one out. It was the same concept there, where because it was more of a traditional build, I wanted the building to speak for itself. You know, I didn't want to use really distracting landscaping. I wanted the landscaping to complement the building. And I think that's really important because sometimes if your landscaping's too busy, it can take away from the building. And don't get me wrong, there are definitely times where really busy and over-the-top landscaping looks beautiful. And actually, I do have some builds coming up for the fall season and towards Halloween where they are over the top and they are beautiful builds. I cannot wait for you guys to see what I've got in the works. There's definitely a lot coming on for the channel. But with that, please in the comment section down below, give me your thoughts and ideas. If you would love to see a style of build or a type of house in particular, or maybe there is a house in real life that you would like me to recreate, or let me know and I will add it into the schedule, because I definitely have a posting schedule where I work out what builds I would like to build for you guys, and I really would like to include you guys into that conversation. I think that it's going to be much more enjoyable for you guys as viewers who, especially if you my frequent viewers. I know I have a small group of you who pop by every week, and I absolutely adore you guys. You guys are my ride and dies, and I really want to make sure that I'm really looking after you and building things for you that maybe you would like to see. Maybe there's a style of home that you want to do, maybe work on and improve on, and maybe I can help you. Or maybe you just really like to see a certain type of build, and I'd love to be able to offer that for you. All right, so we are moving into decorating of the library. Now, I did just skip over that whole kind of kitchenette area. Very basic, it's just got your fridge, some counters, some seating. It looks like a standard lunchroom that you would see in any kind of workplace. And I thought that would be good. I know the Sims in real life are going to love that because, there's like the fridge and that room will get used constantly. And I know it doesn't really need to be there in The Sims, but honestly, I had a big space and I wanted to fill it. So this communal section was just kind of like, I wanted it to be very inviting. So you've got the couches and the seating there. It's almost like a waiting room. It's almost like a little bit like a lobby. And I wanted there to be definitely some neutrals. So you'll see a lot of like all the desks are like this light wood tone, which plays very well with the wallpaper, which plays very well, which is contrasting with the flooring. But then there's so many pops of color. Like these chairs. So these chairs with the flowers, so these are from high school years. Every single desk, like sitting desk, has the same chairs. And that's kind of something that you'll see. Even the flowers that are on all the tables, they're all the same. Because in a community lot, I think you want that consistency. You want to see that cohesiveness throughout the actual building. So that's what I've done today. So you'll definitely see pops of color that are continued throughout the build. And I've definitely used that. So I've got like a little pin-up board over a buffet table in that communal area, just because I think it's realistic, like you'll have the news, maybe the Newcrest news and what's happening in the town. And that's kind of what I would kind of perceive that would go there. All right, so we are moving in to the main kind of communal space, the reading area. Now, I've got a fireplace there. I do not have one upstairs. So obviously, like you've got the chimney, and because it's like the same building, it's kind of doubled up. We've got one downstairs. We don't have one upstairs. And I think that's okay. I think downstairs I've got this big sectional, that we just have some seating. I've got the tall bookcases, and then I've also got these bean bags. And this is kind of what I mean by I wanted to create areas that would appeal to all ages. So you've got that kind of like student and high school student feel. I'm going to appeal to like scholars and working class people and things like that. And I really love this little seating nook over by the staircase, by the way. Turned out quite lovely. But I really love it. I really love how it just really does feel like it's kind of user-friendly for all. And yeah, I really love this downstairs space. I would argue that this is my favorite section of this build. I really do just enjoy it. Now, I did just go into the decoration section of the object section in the build by, and I just found a whole heap of stuff. I didn't want to miss anything, so I just thought I will just pull out random stuff. You need to place like bins all over the place for the library, so I'm just doing that here. And I thought this was a really good tip, take a stack of books and just use the 9 key, raise them up and place that on that sofa. Again, community bathrooms, no surprise. They're not that surprising, pretty basic. I did use the hand sanitizer and paper towel dispenser from Get to Work. I love that. Now, I know you guys have probably had Get to Work for ages. It was the first expansion pack for The Sims 4, but I never bought it. Because I never thought much of it. But it really was good for community lots. Like, I was surprised on how good it was for the usage of these bathrooms, and just a couple of other pieces. Like they've got some modern pieces that I think maybe are from the retail sector of the build, and they're just so nice. I really enjoy them. So this is these bathrooms, and they've just got what you need. They look very standard, but quite realistic at the same time. All right, so we're moving into the downstairs computer lab. It just has 3 computers in it, just in a private little room with just some basic desks and chairs. I do use the same chairs upstairs, downstairs, wherever. Every computer lab has the same furniture, and that's kind of what made furnishing these community lots actually quite easy, is that they can be very simplified. You don't need to have something as intentional or as cluttered as a normal build would be, and that's what I really enjoyed. Okay, so we are upstairs, and I start with that kids corner, and I really liked this space. I thought that it was really realistic because, say for example, you have a working single parent and potentially there was no one to look after the kids, take them to the library. If you need to use a computer, kids can go upstairs, and there's so much in that space. There's so much. There's stuff for kids, stuff for toddlers. Like, I just think it's a really pretty room, and it was again, it was to fill the space. I had the room for it, so why not? So I just made it kind of like, gives me like daycare vibes, but I think that's okay. Like I think it's like daycare vibes, but I think it's okay. Now we are into that skill room. So you've got those chess tables, you've got the debate stand. I used one of these high school year couches. You know what I'm going to say? Love this couch in that red tone. So nice. That red maroon kind of swatch of that in high school years in anything is so good. So included like a little seating area. We've got the piano. Just going around with a lot of plants, and I do use the same type of plants throughout the build. So I'm very consistent with this build. But we also had this little kind of area here that was blank out in the hall there that's just outside of the skill room. I just put a foos table because why not? I figured that, again, we want to have things for all ages, and I just feel like university students, high school students, whatever, they're going to love that foosball table. So I included it. This dine out wall plant is one of my favorites. I remember watching actually YouTubers, as other sim YouTubers, and they were using this plant, and I didn't have dine out at the time. I could not for the life of me think of where this plant came from, and now I can't live without it. So thank you to all my fellow YouTubers for encouraging me to get dine out. I may or may not have bought a pack for a plant, but that's okay. We've all been there. We're upstairs. We are into the main sitting area. So this has got, I've kind of combined the upstairs computer lab, kind of desk space and seating area all in one room. So the upstairs is a giant room that, as you can see, I'm just really like using that teardrop function, and I'm just copying and pasting and copying and pasting. And we're just, we're creating kind of like this multi-function room. And I think it turns out okay. I think it's a little bit more, it's probably not very, I would say, realistic in real life to have kind of like a reading section next to like where people are doing like work and busy things. But it's The Sims. It'll be all right. They're just going to come in and use the computers anyway. But yeah, so I wanted to, as I said, this library is massive, which is interesting because community lots actually have a limit of number of Sims that can be there on the lot. So I actually, in hindsight, think that maybe I've catered a little too well for Sims. That's okay. We had space to fill. All right, so now we're on these outside balconies, and again, I didn't really know what to put in these balconies. I didn't really put too much furniture, just skill items and sitting areas. We put some plants in the front, and this is the front. So the back, sorry, this is the back, but I do actually use these, I do teardrop those bench seating at the front. Yes, we are at the front here, and I'm just placing them down, and that was the final touches. So we are now into the tour. So let's have a recap of what we built today. So this is that, you enter into the library, you've got this communal kind of lobby space. There's that kitchenette that I was referring to earlier. It's just got enough in there that, I just added a microwave because that's realistic in my workplace, that there'd be a microwave. A little place for students to maybe potentially do their homework, downstairs bathroom. I didn't put anything in this entryway, this kind of space between the back door. So I just decided to, I believe I put, another bookcase and a plant just to put something in this place, this space, because it had nothing in it. So I just kind of want to fill it. This is the main downstairs communal space. As we said before, we've got that nice sectional, those tall bookcases, the fireplace, it's all cozy. And the upstairs, so that skill building room, and then that kids creche area. Kind of like a creche area, like a daycare type room. I love it. So pretty. In hindsight, it probably should not have an archway. It should probably have a proper door. I may edit that. But anyway, I still think it's quite nice. And the main communal area for the upstairs and the landings. Where we have some more skill building, some more communal seating. And let me know in the comment section down below how this turned out for you, and whether you think that I achieved the brief. And also let me know, which was your favorite out of the three? Did you like the spa? Did you like the cafe? Did you like the library? And with that, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye for now.